Okay, so let's start today's session. So let me first write the agenda. Okay, so we have already seen about how does a collection framework look like, okay, and what we should be knowing all about, right? But as part of it, right, we what we're going to learn today is we're going to first deep dive into the array list. Okay, we're going to see like how we can do a lot of operations. Let me write down the operations first. So we're going to see how do you add items to it. How do you delete items through it? How do you retrieve an item through it, right? So it is like you how do you get the items from that list, right? The another part which we'll see is like how, I mean, in case of array list, right? I told you like here in case of array list you can still access them through the index position. Okay, and you can also I mean through index position only, right? I will see like if there is any other way, but what you can also do is you can iterate through all the items of the list here, right? So it is like the iteration part. So how to do that part, so we'll cover that part also. We'll see like how we can get the size of the array list. Okay, we will see get iteration size, add, delete. I think this is fine. I think this is what I wanted to cover. Just a second. And so there are similar operations which we have to do for the hash set and the hash map. But again, what would be the difference between them? That is something we'll understand from there. Let me just take the complete list. Okay. Oh yes. Add, delete, search. Right. Search is pending. I have to see the search. How you can search an item inside the list there, right? So iterate and okay. Right. So these are the operations which we will talk about. We'll see how we can perform with any collection, be it array list, be it hash set, okay, or when we talk about hash map, what all is possible. Okay. So we will write it. We will write here like how we do all of these operations, right? And for whom these are applicable and for whom these are not applicable. Okay. So we'll talk about all of this. So let's start. Let's start our discussion. Again, array list is a class which is coming from list. Hash set is a class coming from set, and hash map is a class coming from map, right? And if you would remember, list and set are both interfaces, right? These are classes, class, and interface again. But list and set are child of collection interface, okay? But whereas map is not a child of collection interface. So because of this reasoning, right, you will find the methods which you see inside the map are very different to the ones which you see from list and set. Okay. So once I will be writing the names of those methods, you will realize it. But let's start with the list part first, and we will. Let me just open up the project. Okay, this is our demo. Close all this. Okay, so we were here, right? Let me just check the status of it. I'll let the project load first. It has loaded. Let's see. Okay, so there's nothing to commit. We are good here. Let me create the today's branch. Uh, Git checkout minus the day 23. Okay, and now let's start working on it. So we already had created this, so let it be here. I will start with, let's say, let me create a class and I will term it as tek- 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 demo. Okay, demo class. And inside the demo, I mean, this is a demo class, and I will create. Okay, here only I can play with. Let me get the main method, and let's start working with list. So now let's say that I have a problem. Like let's take one example. Let's go. Let's try to find some use case. Uh, let's say that I have a drop down. Okay, let's say I have a drop down. Okay, where if you click on it, you will see a list of items here. Okay, you will see a list of items here. One, two, three, four, five. Right. Let's say it's a country kind of a drop down where you will find the names of the countries. Okay. Again, I'm just trying to give you an application of it. If you would, when you will start working with Selenium, right, you would realize that to go through this, right, to capture all these values and store it in a list, right? I mean, to store it somewhere using Selenium, right? What it does is it returns you a list of these elements. Okay, so if you do that operation in Selenium, let me write that operation also. You will get the instance of the driver, and you would write find elements. Okay, and people who are familiar with it, they would realize like what I'm saying. But people who do not have an understanding on Selenium, please you can just understand this way, right? You will understand better once we start discussing the Selenium part. But try to understand there is a method called find elements which returns you what the return type of this method is. It returns you a list of web element. Okay, so consider like so similarly, right? Let's say that for us as of now, these are strings. These are not web elements. What is web element or anything? We'll talk about when we discuss Selenium. But in the similar case, right? Let's say that we have a drop down and these are string values for us. So what I need to capture is I need to capture this into a data structure. And what where I can place it? Let's say I decided to place it into a list. So what I'm saying is, what is my data structure? I will use list. What is the data type of my items which I need to store in this data structure? Data types of the items. So can someone tell me in this case if I'm saying these are all strings, right? What is the data type of the items here? String, right?
Yes.
String, right? So and let's say let's provide a name of to our list. I will say country names. Okay, country names. Now based on our understanding yesterday, what we did, if we have to create a data structure, right, using this list, I mean, thing, right? How do we do it? We have first of all two options: array list and linked list. Again, both works very same, right? These are just like, I mean, we will we will explore array list, and the same methods can work for array list for linked list also. Okay, so how do we do it? We have understood like the normal, I mean, the syntax of creating a collection part is looks like this. You have to provide the data structure, you have to provide the interface name here, right? Interface name or the class name, right? Let me open in the right here. What you can do is you can write your interface name, interface name of your collection, right? Whatever collection interface name, whatever collection you want to work with, or you could use the class name, right? So both are possible. Class name, and then you will open these angular brackets and you will specify the data type. Okay, you have to specify the data type here. Then you do what? You give a variable name, you provide a name to it, and then you do a new, and then you use the exact class, right? You cannot instantiate an interface or an abstract class. What can you instantiate? Only classes. So what is the class for list? Array list. So let's say I created array list. So I mean, let me write here class name first of all. The syntax, the normal syntax, right? Class name, and then you will again open the brackets. You the option here is that you can either leave this blank or you could provide the exit data type, right? Both are okay. But I would suggest everyone, right, to type here data type. Okay, to type to provide the data type here. Okay, don't leave it blank, just to maintain the consistency. Okay, and it will really help you to not to learn a lot of different options. Just stick to this kind of a structure there, and then you have to provide the brackets. These are for constructor calling of this class. Okay, And then so if I have to write the logic here, right, for the list, what I will do, I want to work with list. So list is the interface name. So what is the name I should provide here? List. What is the data type I want to store? String inside those lists. And let's say I give it a name as let's say country names is the name of my variable. And then I will do a new, and again it's a class name. So here I have to decide which data structure I have to use. So let's say I will use array list. So I will say array list here. Then again I will open the brackets. It is optional. I can write string here, or I can leave it blank. And our compiler will know about the data type from this. This is mandatory and this is optional. If you want to write, you can. If you don't want to write, skip it. Okay. And then you provide the constructor calls these parentheses there. Okay. Now this is how you have initialized a empty collection. Okay, this is empty as of now. You just designed a data structure. You said that okay, you're going to create a data structure of array list, and what kind of data types it will hold? It will hold strings. Okay, but this is empty as of now, right? If you check the size of this as of now, right, size is 0. Now let's say I have to do the additions to it. Let's say I have to add some items. I have to add some country names to it. So what I can do is the method, right? How do you access the method? Using this variable name, right? So you will say country name, whatever that variable name is, dot, you will say add. Okay. And here, the kind of data type which you have mentioned here, right? You have to provide a relevant value which supports this data type. So here I will say, let's say India. Okay. And you can keep, so now if you would check the size of it, the size becomes 1. So how many items you have in your here collections in your data structure? 1. You can keep on adding as many items as you want, and then you can check the size, so you will get to know the size. How do you check the size? The size is you can check again using this name. So you will say country name dot size, and it will fetch you the size of the array there, right? So this is about addition. Let's try to attempt this first. So let me write here list string country names new array list, and then string here. Okay, and let me import the class and import the class. So now both the classes are imported, and my now let's see the methods which are available on this variable thing, right? Again, this is same as you do for the object creation, right? Everything is same, right? This
Why
is the inter.
util?
Sorry,
Why util we have taken?
this part here.
Huh?
You mean this part?
Yeah. I did not understood Java dot util.
Okay,
UTIL.
okay. See, there are packages in Java, right? From where the classes are imported. So the developers of this collection, right, they have created a package with the name as java.util, and inside that package they have placed this file, this class. Okay, similar to like if you create in your case, let's say you create a package here. Let's say uh, sayali dot let's say util, right? If you create this, right, this is how the package gets created. Let me put it here in the util part. You see, what is the package name where this class is residing under this package, right? If I have to create a, if I have to use this demo thing, right? Let's say inside some classes, some classes which are outside this package. Collection demo is a class outside that package, right? So if I have to use it here, see what will happen. Demo d1 equals to new demo, right? It will ask me to import, right? See clearly as of now, it has not been imported. Let me import this. Let me scroll it up. You see this, right, Shelly? It is the name of your package and the class name, right? from which you have imported the things. We talked about it when we were discussing about packages and import statements. So import statements are required if you're trying to access a class which is not sitting inside your current package. What is your current package? There is no package. So this is called as default package. Okay. So currently your collection demo class is not a part of Sayali's package, right? This Sayali.util.
Yeah.
So if you try to access this demo class inside this, right? Here, the as per the rules of Java, you will have to import that package. Okay, you have to import that class, and when you are importing it, right, it automatically gives you the name and the fully qualified name, which starts from a package name. So Siali is the package. There is another package inside this with the name as util, and then inside util you have a class called dem. Okay, so similarly here also this sorry, this demo part, right? You can see this demo part, this array list, right? It is placed somewhere inside java.util.array list. If I can show you, see this here, package name java.util. Okay, I hope
Yeah.
this is clear now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's move ahead. So we created a list here, right? And let's try to add some items to it. Country names dot. See how what all methods you have. You have add, iterator, remove, get, add, stream, remove, index of contains, right? Clear, contains all, right? Equals and all that, right? So there are a lot of methods here. Let's focus on couple of them. Okay, not every method. Let's focus on couple of them which are very important. So let's say add, right? If you wanted to add an item to your collection, so this is the method you need to use. And again, you can see if you would hover over it, right? You can see what is the input type it is accepting right now. It is accepting string. Why it is accepting string? Because when you declared your collection, right, you specified what kind of data type you would be holding, which is string. So if I provide here, let's say India, right, it will not complain. But if I would have placed here boolean and boolean here, okay, you can see it starts complaining. And if you would hover over the add method, it will show you. Let me just remove this and type add again. And you can see, right, it is accepting boolean. Earlier it was showing string. So you have to understand, right, based from where your compiler is getting to know that what kind of item it can hold because of this. Okay, and let's say you did not specify anything. We saw yesterday, right, this is also allowed, but in this case you can put anything. So now see what does your add method signature shows. Dot add object, right? Because if you say object, you can put anything inside there, be it a string, be it a cow, be it a demo class, anything you want. But we want to be specific. We are saying we are restricting ourselves to only insert string. So that's why it will only allow string now. See this method again, dot add string now, right? So you will find this logic for every method, remove and all, right? All the methods where you can see all these options. So let's add the item, India. I wanted to add another item, country name dot add, let's say uh, China. Let's say another one, country names dot add, let's say US. Okay, so we added three items to it. So this is how you perform the add options, right? Additions. Let's see how we can get the size of the item, right? What is the number of items you have currently in your collection? Again, use this thing, country name dot and use size. You see, there's a method size. Just put and you can see the return type of it. Return type is what? Int. So it will return you the size of the number of items you have there. So let me print this actually as out here. Okay, so it will print the size of the number of items you have in that collection right now. So this is about size. So the method name is size. For addition, the method name is add. Let's talk about removing the item, right? Or let me say delete, right? deleting the item. So what you will do here is again country names dot. There's a method called remove. Okay, so you can just provide it. Now you can see there are two things, right? You can specify. You can specify either the index position, okay, or you can specify uh, the the name of your item, right, which you want to remove. So if you would check here, if you provide, let's say, China, okay, it will remove China from you from there. Or you could also do something else. Again, list and set, right? I think not set, but list. List. If you the in the case of list, right, you can have the index positions. It has a concept of index positions also. So if you know the index position of your item, you can retrieve it through that. Okay. And similarly, you can remove the item placed at that index position. So both are possible. Country names dot remove, and let's say I wanted to remove the item which is placed at the first index position. So I can do this. So what? So let's say I did. So if I run this line, what will get removed? This thing will get removed, right? And if I comment this out and use country names dot remove index position one, so this is index zero, this is index one. So this item will be removed from the data structure. Okay. And if I run it now, this like this only. So what will happen is, first of all, it will remove China. Then it will be left with two items, India and US. And then India would be at zero position and US would be at index position one, right? And if you're removing the item at index position one, what will get removed? US. So what kind of what will be remaining there? Only India. Okay, so we'll see that. And then after this, let me print the size again. Okay, so this is about addition, deletions, and the size part. Okay, what else? Uh, Addition, deletion, size,
Search.
search, right? So let's say I wanted to I don't let's say I have a list of 100 countries, and I want to validate whether it has Bangladesh inside this or not. So what I can do is I can say country names dot, and there's a method called contains, I believe. Contains, right? Contains. And here you can specify your name of your country, right? Let's say Bangladesh. You can see, right, there is no such item Bangladesh inside this. So, and you see the written type of it. Written type of the contains is boolean. Okay, so it will check whether there is a item inside your array with this thing or not. So let's say search. Okay, so if it has the item, right, it will return what? It will return true, otherwise it will return false. So let's collect this, and let me place it somewhere. Boolean uh, exist. Okay, and let me print this out. Exist. Okay, now search we did, deletion we did the size, addition, and the search part. Let's talk about
What about
getting the item. Getting the
update?
item, right? Yeah, I'll tell you about the update part also. But as of now, let's think about this. See, update in case of this, right? What you can do is uh, for the updation, right? Okay, let's talk. Let's think about it. If you would check in your case, right, over here, the updation part. Let's see. Do we have a method inside this? Contains, no. It will not work. Remove, no. Size, no. Add, no. Remove, no. Iterator, no. Get, get will fetch you the item, right? That was the last thing which I was about to tell. Index of, right? Add all, clear, contains all, right? Now these are two important methods. Let's first explore this, right? And I think you will get the answer for your updates also. So if you would see get here, right? There's a method called get. It returns you the item placed on the index position, which will specify inside this. So let's say I wanted to get the item which is placed at index position, let's say 0. Okay, so not the updation. Let me say uh, uh, get the item. Get the item based on index position. Okay, so this will get you the item. So what kind of item it has? It's a string value, right? It's inside this, so you can store it in a string. Let's say string uh, cname. Okay, and I will just print it out. S out C name. Okay, so it will print it. Now we got the item based on the index. Let's say I have the name of it, and I want to find what is the index position of that item. Okay, so in that case, so what I'm trying to do is find the index position. Index position. So in this case, what will happen is it will be country names dot index of. Okay, and here, right, we can specify our object. Let's say I wanted to have for India. Okay, so here you will get index of, so it will return you an int value, right? And let me grab it here, int position equals to this. So let me print position of India is false. Okay, so we got this. Now coming to the updation part. So there is no direct method inside this where you can just go and directly update the value. Okay, you will have to make use of these two methods here. What you can do is, for the updation part, you can first get the item, right? See, updation means what? Updation means that you wanted to find that item which you wanted to update on, right? And there are two ways on it, right? Some of the cases you can just find the item and just update this to a new value. But what is internally happening is, it is like that you found the index position of it, where it is placed, you remove that item, and then you can add the item again. Okay, that is what you could do, right? And it is a list, right? And so it does not matter where that item fits in. Okay, here you cannot insert items based on the index position. You cannot do that. So in case of updations, what will happen is, the first operation you have to do is, you will have to find the item position. Okay, the item position, you can find it, or let's say you don't want to find it, then you also have our method there, right? The delete operation. You could directly remove the item. Okay, so you can find the position and then delete based on it, and then delete based on it, or you could directly remove the item first. Okay, and then once you are done with either of the approach, right, what you should do is, you should then perform the add part. Okay, add the item. And how do you do the item? We have seen all the methods, right? So what we are trying to say here is, you will say country name. Let's say I wanted to replace India to Bharat. So let's say country names dot remove, I will say India, and then I will just say country names dot add Bharat, right? Or what you could also do is, let's say, again, this is just a redundant work, but just showing you, you can say country names dot index of, okay, index of India. You will get the item, the int value from it, right? Int value from it, and then you can do what? You can uh, index of, okay, you cannot delete the items, right, using the index, I believe. Yes, you can, sorry, you can. So you can use this index position, right? Whatever you found out there, you can just copy this. It will give you an int value and place it inside this. Okay, so it will remove your item from the country names, which is with the name India. So you can use either of the techniques, right? But again, I don't think you'll be using this. You would be rather using this one, unless and until you have the duplicate values for the same name, right? And that's why there is another method inside the to find the index position, which is this country names dot last index of. So let's say you have multiple entries with the same thing, you can get the item based on this. Let's say India, right? And you can print this out. Let me print this. India index, last index position is, okay, and let me add some entries on the top. So I will Again, list can have duplicate values, so this is perfectly fine. I can add India here, okay, and then I can add, let's say, Australia, and let's try to run all of this. Let me see, am I printing things or not? Uh, Size, let me write here, sizes is this. Uh, Size is this, size 2 is this. Let me write it here. Uh, so it will say whether it exists or not. It will check, it will give you the get the item. It will print the item, whatever is available, find the index position. So it will find the index position. It will find the last index position of India. It will, here we're trying to remove the item. Let me comment this. So we're trying to remove the item based on the index of India. And then we're also removing India again. So both the entries of India would be removed, and then we are removing the India from there, right? And then we're adding Bharat to it. Now we're doing all of this, right? And let's say we want to now print what all items we, what all things we have inside that list here. So how do we do it? I want to print the entire list, whatever is available there. So I want to iterate through it, right? I want to iterate through it. And I've told you multiple times that there is an enhanced for loop which you can use if you wanted to iterate through an item which can be iterated through. So what are the examples which we have seen is arrays. Using arrays, you could use enhanced for loop to iterate through the entire array. In that case, you don't require the index position, but it starts from the first item from there and then keep iterating from it, right, from one to the another till it reaches the end of it. Okay, so we can use the same approach here. So we can say for, we will see, we write the brackets here. What is the item which I want to, what is the thing which I have to iterate through? The country names, right? Country names is something which I can iterate through. So I will provide it on the right hand side. What I will provide on the left hand side? What what do I have inside this country name? What is the data type of those things? String, right? That is what I have. So I will specify string and let's say SA. Okay, and then I will just simply print S value. Okay, and let me just say this that okay, let's run this now and see the output and see what do we get. Okay, let's see the output, right? So how many items did we edit on the first time? 5 items. India, China, US, India, Australia, right? 5 items. So the size is 5. Okay. Then what we did was we deleted China first, right? So the China got removed from the list, which is here, right? And now how many items would remain? Only 4. India, US, India, Australia. And index position would be 0, 1, 2, and 3. So then I'm saying remove the item which is placed at index 1, which is placed at index 1, US. So US will be removed. Then how many items will I remain with? India, India, and then Australia, right? Now here size 2 is printing the size, so it prints 3. India, India, and Australia. Then we are checking whether do I have a name inside my country names with this thing. I do not have it, right? That's why it printed false here. Okay. Then I'm checking the index, the item based on index position. So here I'm trying to get the item which is placed at the 0th position. So what is placed at the 0th position? 0th position, India, right? So you got India here. Now we did this, and now we are trying to find the index position of India again. Country name dot index of India. Why it printed 0 here? Oh, index position, right? That's why it printed 0. Sorry. Yes. So index printed index position 0, right? So that's why it printed 0. Now the last part, system dot output printed India's last index position. So we had 2 entries of India, right? One at 0 and another at 1. So that's why the last index position gives you the 1 as an output. And then we wanted to update the value, right? So what we are saying, we're saying country name dot remove country name where the index position, where the index is India. Okay, so try to understand. We had three entries: India, India, and Australia, right? So 0, 1, and 2. So what I'm saying is country names dot index of India. So this will, it will start reading the list from the very beginning. It found India at the zero position. So it printed, so it gave zero here, and it said country dot remove zero. So whatever is placed at zero position would get removed. So India got removed from there. Then in the second operation, we are removing whatever in the what is left after this operation. Only two items, which is India and Australia. And now we are removing the item based on the name. So now from India and Australia, India is gone. So what is pending is Australia, right? Now, if you would see, right, after the Australia, what I'm saying is I am adding a new item, Bharat, right? And then we have two items now, Australia and Bharat. And what I'm doing here is I'm just iterating through the entire list and seeing what all values I have. And you can see what it printed, Australia and Bharat. Okay. And this is how you can iterate through the list there. Now, there is one more way of iterating uh, through the collections, right? Which only works for collections. So this for loop can work with arrays also, right? We saw that anything which can be iterated through, you can specify in this enhanced for loop. But there is a very special case for collections, right? So there is a concept called of iterator. Okay, iterator is a class in Java. Let me let me just okay. Let me just go there first. So let's say we had a list like this, right? I'm talking about list, but this is applicable for any kind of collections you will work with. This is country name, right? Country name, India. Let's say India, Australia, and Bharat, right? Let's say we had these three items, right? So zero position is 0, 1, 2, right? Index positions. These are values, and these are index positions. Now there's a concept. Let's say I want to iterate through it. I've already seen that. I've already shown that you can use enhanced for loop, but there's one more thing which you can use to iterate through the entire thing, which is called as iterator class. So there's a class in Java. Again, this is a part of your collection only. Yesterday, when we talked about collection framework, this is one thing which I missed. So if you can add this name over there, right, as a separate class somewhere, which is iterator. Now this iterator, you will again, this is a class, right? So again, if I have to create the instance of it, how do you do it? This here, right? Well, let me check. Is it iterator a class or interface? Just a second. I think it could be an interface also. Just a second. Can I do iterator here? Import class java.util. I think iterator is an interface, not the class. Okay, my bad. Iterator is not the class. Okay. So okay, one more thing. Let me just try to see this. This iterator is uh, is not a child of your collection framework. Okay. So if you would see the collection framework diagram which I drawn yesterday, right? You can place iterator as a separate interface somewhere, okay, which is not connected to any of your classes or interfaces which I drawn yesterday. So iterator is another interface, okay, separate from everything from there. Now, how do you use this iterator, right? You will use, again, if you have to use this iterator, you will write iterator here. You will give the variable name, and every collection which you can work with in the collection framework, like list, set, or hash map, right? Any of those collections, right? There is a method inside each one of them, and the name of that method is iterator. Iterator. Okay, like this. Let me show you in the list also. If you would go back, let me remove this. If you would, what was the name of our list? Country name, right? Country names. You put a dot on it, and you can see the first method which is comes as iterator. And what is the written type of it? Written type is iterator, right? The interface. Okay, and it shows what kind of items you can iterate through. String data types, because your list contains only these. Okay, so you will use this method. Now, what is the complete syntax? You will use here the collection name whichever you want to iterate through. Then you will put a dot on it, and then you will use the iterator method. What this will return you is, this will return you an output of type iterator interface, which can accept, which will provide you the string values, because your collection was holding the collection, the drop, I mean, the string values only. Okay, Atul, no worries. So, right. So here, what kind of items your collection contains? String, right? It contains string. So here also you will have to specify the generics part. You have to tell what kind of items you want to iterate through, which is string. So now this is the complete syntax of it. Okay. So let me repeat here. So the syntax, if you have to iterate through the items, right, you will write something like this: iterator, which is an interface, and then you will write, open the diamond syntax, and you will type the data type which your collection is holding. Your collection here is holding strings value, right? So you will specify string here. Then you will give a name to it, and then since it's an interface, you cannot do a new. Okay, you cannot do a new because it's an interface. So how to use it? Whatever collection you are working with. So my collection here is list, and the name of it is country name. Country name, and it has a method called iterator. So you will use it, and if you would check the written type of it, the written type is matching to this part, iterator of string. Because why string? Because this collection contains string. If it would have contained boolean, it would have been boolean. If it contained cow, it would have been cow. If it was lion, it would be lion. Right? Understanding the point? So this is your syntax of working with the iterator. But again, it's not completed yet. It is just the formation of your I mean the variable which I have created, right? There are two methods coming inside this interface. Okay, there are two important methods which we should be aware about. So iterator interface provides us two methods. One of the method is has next. One of the other method is next. What is has next and next? See, try to understand iterator like a pointer. Okay, let's say this is your list, this is your collection, and you had three items. Okay, India, let's say India, Australia, and Bharat. Okay, now again, when you declare something like this, iterator string it country name dot iterator. When you do something like this, what really happens is the Java is creating like a pointer. Let's say, I'm not saying that it creates a pointer, but try to understand that, right? It creates a pointer, and it starts pointing to the top of your collection. Your collections item starts from here, right? It starts from here. But the cursor, let me use the word cursor. The Java will put a cursor right on your list starting here, which is, it's like the starting part of your collection. So there is a cursor being placed once you run this. Okay. Now what happens? What is the purpose of having this cursor? The purpose is that you need to, you what is the purpose of iterator class? We want to iterate to the entire list, right? Whatever items you have. Today we have three items, tomorrow it could be 30 items, right? 50 items. So again, right, we whatever items we have, we wanted to iterate through it and maybe work on it. So what we have to do is, see, again, today it is 30, it is three items, tomorrow it could be 50, right? So iterator needs to know how many items I have to iterate through, right? It needs to know. It cannot just, again, internally it has to have some logic, right, inside this. So that logic is that they use two methods. One is the method which it uses, which is has next. Okay, and it returns you a boolean value. Okay, it returns you a return type is boolean value. So what it checks is, when your cursor is here, right, it will check whether there is a next item placed after that. Yes, currently I can see India, right? So has next will say, so when the pointer is here and it runs that has next, right, it will see, okay, do I have a next item, I mean after me? Yes, I can see. So it will return true. Okay, so it will return true. If it is written true, then you should do what? Then you should invoke the method next. What will happen because of this? Now your cursor, wherever it was placed, right, it will move ahead by one step. So it will not be remaining here. It will move to the next available position, which is here. And now your cursor is pointing to the first element of that collection. Okay, and you can access that item using this part only. Okay, so when you say next, it moves to the next item and it points to it, and you can access that item using this only. If I do a s out, right? system.out.println this next, right? It will print what? It will print India. Okay, right? So what you need to do is what you will do. So this helps you to find whether you have a next item or not. And if you want to move to that item, you will use what? You will use the next method. You will use this next. So what we will do is we will use a while loop. Okay, we will design a while loop. We'll say while iterator dot has next, right? If it would return true, right? What I need to do is I need to do iterator dot next. Okay, and I will store it into a variable, let's say s, and then I will print this out s here. Okay, and here the brackets are closing. Now once it reaches there, let's do the dry run, right? Let's do the dry run. Here see, while iterator, this variable, right? This variable dot has next, it is checking whether there is an item after me. Yes, it found one, right? So it will return true here. As soon as it returned true, I said iterator dot next. Now the cursor started pointing to this, and iterator dot next is pointing to the value which you had, which is in. So now s becomes in here. Okay, and you will print in there. Now when the loop is ending, right, it will again go up to the while loop. It will see iterator dot next. Now your cursor is here. It will again check, do I have a next item after me? Yes, I can see there's an item. So it will say yes. It will print true there. So in the first iteration it printed true. In the second iteration it printed true. As soon as it printed true, you are saying it dot next. So now you're saying, okay, if it was true, then move your cursor from the last position to the next position. Now it is pointing to this. So now your iterator dot next is pointing to Australia, and it will print Australia. Then again the loop ends, and then it will again go up. So now the third iteration starts. Here again it will check, do I have a next item? Yes, I do have a next item, which is Bharat. So it will return true only. Once it returns true, right, it will again, we are again saying that okay, move to that item. So now when it sees next item, next method, it will move to the next item here, right, which is Bharat. And now it says Bharat, it says Bharat. Okay, and it will work. Now in the fourth thing, right, when it goes up and tries to see it dot has next. No, I do not have any further items to it. So what this will return is it will return false this time. And as soon as your while logic, right, while block, right, that looping part receives a false as part of the conditions result, right, it will do what? It will just come out of it, right? So your while loop will end, and this way you are able to iterate all the items in your list or your collection, and you are able to print it. Okay, and this is how the iterator works. Let me show you by typing this on. So we have already seen one of the way using the enhanced for loop, and now we are saying about the iterator part. Iterator while it dot has next, it will keep on it will first start from the first person, then second, then third, right? And I want to do what? Let me first grab the value. Let's say string s equals to null, and I will say s equals to iterator dot next. Okay, and then I will print that value which I am holding. I could have simply done this also, right? I could have simply done this also. S out, it dot next. Right? I just wanted to make sure that you understand what I'm doing. Okay, I could have written simply this instead of writing in two different lines. But again, I hope everyone is understanding this part. Okay, so let me remove this, and we're okay with this, right? Now let's run the program. So we will see this Australia and Bharat printed twice. Let me put a marker between them, and let's run this. Now, very quick, right? You can see Australia, Bharat, Australia, Bharat. Okay, everyone. Okay. Can someone tell me why there was a need to put null here? String s equals to null. Can't I just leave it as is? Let's just say declare a variable and string s.
You have to initialize it, right?
Why?
It
Can't
throws
I?
an error if you don't.
Hmm?
It throws
Because
an error if you don't do it.
Hmm. No, why there's a need to
The instance
initialize
where
it?
the
It's
instance
a,
variables have to be initialized, else it throws an
and this is what it's an instance variable.
yes, isn't it?
No, no. See, the rule is you have two types of variables, right? Instance variable and local variable.
Local
What are
variable, yeah.
right? The local variables are the ones which you create inside the methods, right? We have discussed
Within the
about
block.
all this, right, everyone? So you
Yeah.
can see this s variable, right? Where we are creating it? We are creating it inside
The
this
main, right?
method in the main method, but it's a
Yeah.
method, right?
Okay,
So,
yeah, got it.
so your string s variable, your s variable is what? Local variable. And if I would have created a string variable, let's say, I mean any variable outside here, right? Like this. Here, this is called as instance variable because this is sitting outside any method, right? Which your
Yes.
class had. So this is sitting directly inside your class. So we term it as instance variable. Okay. And if you do not initialize your instance variable, Java compiler will initialize those values for you. Okay.
Default
So
values.
so what will happen here is there are default values with respect to all the data types which you can have. So for the objects, the default value is null. Okay. Whether you write here or not, if you do this, great. If you don't do this, this will be automatically done by compiler. But that is not the case with the local variables. For the local variables, you have the responsibility to us to initialize it with some default values. If you don't, compiler will complain. Okay, let me try to run this and see if it works or what it does. Ah, it worked here. Okay, but we are making sure that the values are being printed. Okay, just a second. If I would try to print the value like this here, yes. Okay, let's see what it prints. You can see here, right? It started throwing an error. It says variable s might not have been initialized. Okay, for this it is saying it is not initialized. Why I did not throw an error here? Because it came to know, okay, I am initializing a value here, right? But let's say you wanted you see as per the rules of Java, right? It is required that you should initialize it, right? If you miss to initialize that value somewhere, right, then it will be a problem for Java. So here, based on the logic which it could see, right, it was okay. It okay did and said, okay, I can see that you are initializing the value of s somewhere, so it is fine that you are not doing it here. But I would still recommend please do it whenever you're creating a local variable, because if you can see here, right, at line number 70 here, it is complaining. It is saying because 68 runs first and then line number 70 will run, right? And after that 74 will run. So now compiler knows about it that s variable has not been initialized. That's why it is complaining. If you do this after this, right? Or it is still complaining because while loop can depend whether while loop will work or not, right? So compiler being very intelligent, it is making sure that something of that nature is happening. Okay, let us place this all this here also. Again, see, you see, it is complaining because before this it was not initialized. You can see, right? Because initialization is happening at line number 75. And before that, anywhere you try to initialize, you will try to use this without initializing it, it will throw an error. But you can see at line number 76, it is fine. Why? Because it could read line number 75 and it comes to know, okay, that somewhere the S is getting initialized. Okay, the main part is that whenever you're using a local variable, please make sure that you are providing a default value to it because Java compiler will not initialize, will not provide a default value for them. Okay, I thought people may have a query why I provide null here and not, but again, if you had a query, great. If you did not, now you learned about it. Okay, let me remove the this part here. We don't need this. Okay, so what we learned about the different operations which you could do for the list. Okay, addition, size, delete, size, and all, right? Search, getting the item based on index positions, find the index positions. How do you perform the updates? Yes, Vizula.
I think there is one more function, right? Like using the set, we can set the. I guess
Yes,
yeah, something is right. Dot
set
set.
method.
Yeah, dot set. We can set. I think the guess. I guess the first will be the index and second will be the values.
That is for the maps, not for the list.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay, that is for the maps. You can see, oh, it has a method. Okay.
Yeah, index and then we give the value. I guess it is there.
I didn't knew about it. Okay, we have a method here. Great. Oh, very good. So now I can do it for the index position also. Okay, then this becomes your updation part, right? I think using
Yeah,
this you
yeah,
can
that's
also
what I do.
update.
We don't have to remove and do it, right? We can directly do
Okay,
this.
right, right. Then you can do this way only. Okay, let us try to do it. We had Australian Bharat, right? And these, so this is zero position, this is one position. Let's rename Australia to, uh, let's say Austria. Okay, let's see whether this works. I hope this will work actually if you're able to do it. But again, internally, what it will do is it will delete the value and set the value again. Okay, but here you can control it at which position you have to add it. Let me run this, and it's a good catch. Thank you, Fizula, for this. I didn't know about it. Let's run this. Let's see what it does. It did not do anything. Why?
You haven't
Update me.
printed. Okay.
I didn't.
You haven't printed again.
Oh yes, man. What am I doing? Sorry. Okay, got it. You're right. Let me copy this way. Let's print this. String s. Okay, why it is taking s here? Because I have already used s as a local variable. Let me put s1. Let's try to do this. It should now say Austria and Bharat, right? Great. So we have a method for update also. Great. Okay, I'll remember this update part. Great. So these are the different operations, right, which you can do for it. Okay, for a list. And so let me write it down. Let me write all the methods which we talked about over here, right? So let me just get this here. And let's start writing. So for if you have to perform an addition, right, on a list, what you do is there's a method called add. Okay. If you have to remove, and again you have to provide the data type, right, the value which matches the data type which your list can hold. Okay, you will provide that value. In case of delete, right, if you want to perform a delete, there's a method called remove. There are two versions of it. You can provide the index position, which is the int value, or you can provide the exact name, whatever you wanted to remove, right? So there are two methods to it. If you wanted to get the item, right, from the collection, right, what you can do is there's a method called get, I believe. I think it's the name get only. Yes, get. So you can use get, and you can provide the index position here. Okay, index position, and it will return you the item, right? If you wanted to get the size of it, size, there's a method called size. If you wanted to get the item based on the not based on the, if you wanted to find the index position, find the index position. And let's say you wanted to find where, what is the index position where Bharat is placed. So what you will do is you will say index of, okay, and then you will provide the value there, like Bharat. And it will return you what? Int value. Let's say again I told you a list can hold duplicate value. So that's why there is another method here which says last index of. So let's say you have 5 times Bharat written somewhere, and you wanted to know where what is the last index position where Bharat is residing. So you can use this method and it will return you the index position of it. Okay, and this will can become handy in that case, and then you can use the index position to, let's say, remove the duplicate value. Okay, so you can use this method there. If you have to search, right, you can use contains method, and you can provide the value, and it will tell you whether it's a true or a false. Okay, if you wanted to iterate through it, right, you can iterate through two mechanisms, right? We talked about enhanced for loop, so you can use enhanced for loop, or you have to use a method coming from the this here, which is dot iterator. Okay, and we've seen about like how to use it by using has next and the next method. Okay, and one last thing which we learned here is about the updation part. So we have a method called set. Let me write it here, set. Okay, and here it accepts the index position, right, and the value. So you can specify at what index you wanted to set that value. So it is like an updation operation. It will set the value, or you can consider like, okay, will it work as an add also? Let me try. I'm not sure about the add part. Let's see.
Yes, there is a add. In place of put, we can use add, right, for array list.
We can, but what I'm asking is, let's say we currently, sorry, we have two items, right, inside this Australian Bharat. Can I use the set method to place a value at the third index? Let's say, I'm saying, can I do this now? Set equals to 2, and let's say, what, China again. Can I do this? I have 0 and 1. I do not have 2. And let's print this again. What items it adds? Let me also read the documentation of set. What set really do? It replaces the app. It says replaces, so it will not work. Okay, great, fine. So there is no doubt then. It says replaces. Okay, so set is only valid for the updation part. Okay, that is for the updation part, and this is how you do it. So it updates the value. So now, right, so these are all the different methods which you can find inside the array list. Let's very quickly see the set. Set, we understood that it does not allow duplicate values, right? But if you would find, right, majority of the methods which you have seen are same for the hash set also. Okay, let us just see the methods which we have. Okay, let me just start showing this. Let me get all of this, and maybe control X, public void list demo. Let me place all of this here, and then I will do what, I will create another method here for the set, public void set demo. Okay, and let me paste all of this here, and let's try to see this. In case of list, right, I have to create a set. So a set could be, as I told you, let's say uh, uh, about the, let's say, employee IDs. Okay, employee IDs. Let's not take employee IDs. Let's say that we wanted to have uh, the uh, the the list of best performers, right? Let's say we want to have a list of best performers. Uh, Again, the list of best performers cannot have duplicate values. Okay, let's assume it cannot have. So what I'll do is, again, it's something which will be holding strings. Let me create set, and I will say string here, the data type of it, and I will say performance list. Okay, performance. Let me say performance set equals to new hash set, and this part. And here I have to import all of this. Again, everything is residing in the java.util, I believe. So you can import all of this. And now, let me write string here also. Now let's see the methods which we have. Very closely see this. Performance, let's say the add of operation. Do I have add? See, it is very same, right? Add. If we see the remove method, here in case of remove, you have one variant which can accept the exact item, but you do not have this part, the index part, because in case of sets there is no index positions maintained for the items you're adding. Okay, it does not maintain that. Again, there's a difference between a list and a set. So there are two main difference. One difference is set does not allow duplicate values. Also, set does not maintain your index position. Okay, at which position did you edit the item? It will not maintain. And why it does not maintain, you have to understand the reason for that. Why it is not maintaining? Because if you try to add a duplicate value, right, if you try to add a duplicate value, in that case it just removes the existing value and keeps the new value. So when it is doing this, right, if you consider this, right, I had India, I had Australia, I had a China. Okay, and this is my set. So let's say it is, let's assume that it also provided the index position 0, 1, and 2. In case of list, let's say this is the list, right? This is the list here. India, Australia, and China. Again, this is a list and this is a set. Assume that again, in case of list we have index positions, and in case of set we do not have index position. But let's assume that it does provide index positions. In case of list, if you try to add Australia again, what the list will do? It will simply add a new item and provide the index position 3 and say Australia. You can see by adding a duplicate value in the list, the ordinal positions, right, did not got affected. It is still the same 0, 1, 2, 3. But in case of sets, right, what will happen is if you try to add Australia, what it will do? It will remove Australia from here. Okay, it will shift China to the index position 1. Okay, and now this will be removed, and then what you will have is you will have Australia here. So now your thing will look like this. This is called India, this is China, this is Australia. Now if you would remember, if you would have remembered, okay, China was at index 3, right? That index 2. But now you can see it, because the of the internal operations, how set works, you could not have that, it could not maintain that index position. So that's why it's not relevant for sets, because the internal part of sets, how they work is, they will, based the operations based on index positions will not add any value. So they don't provide index positions. They say these are not in the ordinal positions as you may think, right? But we are leaving it to the sets where and how they want to add that item. Okay, your item would be added, which is a guarantee, but at which position it would be added, that you leave it to sets. It will not reveal it and you cannot know. But in case of list, you can know, you can understand where your item is added, and if you know the index position, you can get your item based on the index position also. But that is not true for sets because there is no index position. So similarly, if you try to, so what is available in headset? Only this version, remove of the item part. You cannot access index here. Similarly, the methods which are dependent on the index are not available in sets, like get method. Let's see. So remove method, you can see I showed you, right? Remove method over here. We do not have that variant of remove which accepts int. It's not there. But if you would see the get method, right, there is no get method altogether. Why? Because get method would have wanted to work on index, but index are not allowed in index positions are not allowed to be retrieved. I mean, based on index position, it is not allowed to retrieve in the sets. So that's why the get method is not there. So get method is not there. Okay, and for this is not there in case of sets. What about iteration? Iteration, it works same, right? So these are same methods which you will use. You can use enhanced for loop, you can use iterator, so no change there. So same exact thing you can use in set also. The size of it, I am not sure about the size. Let's see. Size, yes, we can have the size. So it will tell you how many items it has. That thing it will do. Okay, so you can have a size method. So it is there. Contains, again it would be there, because in contains you provide the exact value. So you can check whether a certain item exists here or not. You will say dot contains, and you can see it has that thing, right? You can specify India, whatever you want to add, right? And you have that item. So it does have contains also. Index of, right? Let's see this. Index of, again, we're trying to get the index position of an item, which is not allowed in set, right? So you will not have that method. I am sure you should not have that method. Let's see. Right? There is no such method of index of, and there is no such method of last index of, right? So both of them are not allowed. Let's see about the set method. Again, set will not be there because index positions are not allowed. So see here. Do I have a set? No, I do not have a set method. Okay. So you do not have a set value. You do not have a set method. You do not have the index or last index. You have contains, you have size, you have iterations. You do not have get method. You do not have a remove method which accepts index positions. Okay, right? Otherwise, the other remaining methods are with the same name. And why is that? Why is that? Because if you would try to find the parent of both of them, right, you would find that both are leading to collection interface. Even the list is an interface derived, extended from this collection interface. Set is also derived from the collection interface, right? That's why some of, I mean, the methods, right, have a common name, right? Whatever is applicable in both the things, right? Whatever methods are available, they are with the same similar names. But that is not true for maps. When we talk about maps, you will find some different names there. And the reason behind this is, one of the reason is this only, that map collection is not the parent. Okay, map is a standalone interface. Okay, so again, I am not going to perform all these steps for sets. I will leave it for you. But the similar approach is done. But let me talk about update part. Okay, in case of sets, how do you update a value? How do you update a value? You simply do what? You will, again, see, what do you mean by update? Let's say I had India there, right? I wanted to update India to Bharat. Let's say, right? India to Bharat. I do not have a set method, which is fine. So this method is not there because it works on index positions. So, but if you would look at it, like how internally the things work inside the program, right? What computers will do is they will first identify where is India, right? And then they will remove it and then add Bharat. Okay, this is what they will do. So if you have to perform an update in sets, what you should do is you should first use this method, whether you have a contains India or not. Okay, I mean, you can try to, you can use it or you could avoid it. What you have to do is, ultimately you have to do is you have to first delete the item. Delete, you will, how do you remove, how do you delete? You say remove India. Okay, you can do this, and then you can say add Bharat. This is the only possible solution if you have to do an update, which would be a combination of deletion and then addition. Otherwise, you can see there is no such option there, right? Using search method, you can find whether you have an item with that name or not, and then you can trigger this operation. Otherwise, so let me write the complete logic. You will say if contains whatever the name of the set is, contains, let's say, India, then do this operation, remove and then add Bharat. Else, do what? Else just add Bharat. If you had the item, it will remove the previous value and then add an entry. Otherwise, it will simply add a new entry. Okay, so there is no method for updates in case of sets. Okay, you will have to think logically and then provide a logic around it. Right. So Fizula, I hope there is no method for update, right? In your knowledge also about sets,
No, no, actually, as far as I understood, I don't think so.
right? So you're agreeing with me, right, on this?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, great. Again, right? So this is how the set works. This is the only complex operation which you will have to do for sets, which is the update part. I mean, this is also not complex. I'm just saying that you will have to do some more line of code to perform this kind of an operation. But otherwise, add, delete, iteration, size, search, right? All of these are same. There is no difference. Okay, so we covered about list and set, and we saw like what are the available methods available, right? Let's talk about hashmap. So let me, okay, let's talk about maps. What are maps? Public void map demo. Okay, on this map demo, we talked about how does a map look like. A map looks like this, right? It has two things inside it, right? And a map looks like this. Again, you should get a click here, right? When someone says map, map is like you're doing some mapping. Okay, so how is the mapping happening? It is happening with the concept of key value. So you have a key and you have a value. So this key, right? Let's say I wanted to keep the list of countries again, but let's say there is a world organization and they have provided a country code. Okay, we all know, right? For every country, there's a country code, right? So let's say, I mean, world organizations have created that list and they have created a map for it. So let's say I wanted to add India, and the country code for this is 91. Let's say, okay. Let's say they added Pakistan, and the country code is 92. Similarly, I mean, maybe some, I don't know the exact name, but let's say Australia, the value is 52. Okay. And if you try to add Austria and you say the country code for Australia is 52, then it's a problem, right? Keys are meant to be unique, first of all. So keys are unique. Keys have to be unique. What what is the collection which we talked about which gives you unique things? Set,
Set.
right? Set, right? So these keys, right, you can consider that this portion here, right, will act like a set. It will not allow duplicate values. Okay, everyone? And here, this part over here, right, you can have duplicate values because it's a value, right? So this part will act as what? This will act as a list. Okay, this will act like a list. Okay, so this is a key. This can act like a list. Okay, and what is a map? Map is something which is two entities, key and a value, where you can get your value based. If I ask, give me country whose country code is 91. So I gave you just this information. So how will you identify it? You can only identify if you have a mapping somewhere where 91 points to India. So you can use it, and if you try to use based on this key, right? There is a subsequent value associated to it, which is this. Okay, and mind you, this is a one-way thing. You have the key, you can get a value, but it's not that if you have a value you can find a key. That is not true, and that is not how it works, right? The concept of this, why do we say it as key? There's an importance for it, right? That you can use that key to find your value, but it's not that you can find a value, that you have a value and you try to find a key for it. No, it does not work in the reverse position. It works like this: you have a key, you can find a value. Okay, and this is about maps. You have two things. We talked about the syntax of it. How do you define a syntax? You say map, you will have to have two things. So this is int value, right? So let me write integer first. Integer, and then this is string value, right? So string here, and then let me give it a name. Let's say country map, and then I will do what? I will say new hash map, because that is the class which implements the map, and then I will add here integer and string, and this is the complete syntax to create an empty map. It's an empty map. Now let's talk about the similar operations which we were doing for the other things, which are these, right? Let's see how we do all of this in case of maps. Let's start doing it. So I will say map integer string uh, just one thing. Country map, okay, equals to new hash map, and then you can have integer and a string and this. Okay, we saw this, right? We can do it. Now let's start the addition operations. How do you perform the addition operation? You can do something like this. You can say country map dot, the name of your addition method in case of maps is put. Okay, it is put. Now think about this. When you talk about maps, right, it has to has, so this entire thing, this one row here, right, is one entry, right, is one entry. So when you have an empty map, when you did this, right, you got a empty map. You just declared that your key is of type integer and your value would be of type string. This is what you got when you wrote this line, and the size of your map is what? 0. Okay, as of now, if you have to make the first entry to your map, it means that you have to provide both the values at the same time, key also and a value also. So there is a method. So this is an addition operation, right? So for addition, the method used is put. And when you see this put method, right, it accepts two inputs separated by comma. The first value would be for the integer. So let's say I wanted to provide 91. So I will say 91 here. And then I will provide India. And similarly, I can make entries for the rest of the things. So let's go back. Put. So I will say 91 and I will say India. Okay. If I go back and let me just copy this and add some more entries. 92 to Australia, sorry, Pakistan. And we have Australia, and we have India, Pakistan, Australia, and what was the value? Let's say 108, and we had uh, let's say 67. We have Cambodia. Okay, so let's say these are the entries which I have made. You can see as of now I have not added a duplicate entry as of now, right? So we'll talk about it, but these are like addition operations. So if you would see the size of your map now, I think there's a method called size, but let me check. Do I have a method? Yes, I do have a method size. So this will print you the size, the number of items which you can have in your maps. So if I go back to my table here, let me start filling this. So what is the name of the method here? It is put method. Okay, and it accepts two input, one for the key, other for the value. We also have a size method. So this is also available there. Okay, so we have a put method for the addition. We have a size method to know the number of items we have inside my map. So this is about the size. Let's see how to, let me print this also as out. I have to, let's say, delete now the items. Delete the item. How do you delete the item? So this is addition. This is delete the item, right? How should I delete the item? Let me write the country map dot. You see there is a method called remove. Okay, let me just write remove and see all the available options. You can see I have two different variants of remove. One is something which accepts both the things, key and a value. And also there is a remove method which only accepts key. And that is the part, that is the benefit of creating a map. I told you if you have a map, right, you can access your values based on what? Based on keys. Similarly, if you wanted to remove an item, right, if you have the entire thing, you can use it as is. You can say, then you will say remove and you will provide 91 and India here. So it will match the entire thing. It will see whether there is an entry called whether it has an exact entry here with the 91 and India. Let's say I did not provide India, I provided Indian, let's say. Now you can see there is no such entry, 91 Indian. So here, I think it will not delete anything. Okay, it will not delete anything, right? So you have to be correct in both the values, right? In this case, it's not that it found 91, so it will go and delete 91. No, it will match the entire thing. There should be a row representing these two values. If there is nothing, if it could not find, it will not delete. But let's say you do not know, you do not remember the value name, right? But you remember the key. So what you can do is you can just say remove and 91. It will remove this entry from it. Okay. So we have both the methods. So I will say 91, right? And let's say country map dot remove. You can say 91, and you can say India here. Okay, so both are available. So let me write. Let me go back to our list again. So we have remove method. So this is there, right? But there are two variants of it: key, and you can provide remove key and a value. Okay, both variants are available. Let's see about how we can get an item from a map. If you wanted to get an item from a map, you have to be dependent on the keys. Okay, you need to know the keys of it. So let's say I wanted to get an item whose country code is 91. So get the item. So you will have to use a method called as get. Okay, and you can see there is only one method and it accepts only the key. So if I provide here 92, it should return me what? The output of should be the value. And what is the type of value? String, right? Here I think it can show object, it can show object. It shows me. Okay, leave it. So it shows, so in this case, right, the output would be your value. Okay, whatever value they would be assigned to this key. So we read about it, right? What that is. So we have to provide get, and it accepts it works on the key part, right? So you can see, right, in all the methods we have seen till now, the key is a very important part, right? Every method accepts key. Okay. Now, okay, iteration you can leave as of now. Let's talk about this search thing, right? In when we were talking about list and sets, right? In those cases, you had only one kind of item, right? Like a list of string or a set of string, a set of numbers, and all that, right? But in case of maths, you have two things: a key and second a value, right? So that's why let's say that I just wanted to search whether I have a key with the value, I mean a key of 92, let's say, right? So I require a different method. If I wanted to check whether I have a value with the name as Pakistan, then I will have to have that kind of a method. Okay, so the methods are different for keys and for values if you want to search them. What are those methods? Search, you will say country map dot, what I said, contains, right? Contains key. You see, let me write the entire thing. Contains key. So there are two methods: contains key and contains value. If you wanted to search for a key, you will use contains key and you will specify, let's say, 92. Okay, whatever. It will return you. It will return you true and false again, whether it exists or not. Similarly, if you wanted to validate whether you have a value, you will say contains value, and again here you will provide, let's say, India, whether you have an India or not, and again it will return you true or false. Okay, so we talked about this contains things also, search thing, right? So we have two methods: contains key, which accepts your key, and you have a contains value, which accepts your value. Okay, and it will return you true and false, as similar to above, right? So we did this about the iteration, right? We have already seen if you wanted to access a value, you could access it using the get method, right, everyone? If we know the key of entry here, if I know the key as 92, I can get the value for it. The value for it would be Pakistan, and I can get it through this get method. I will only say get 92 and it will return me that value, right? Now, why I'm repeating this is because we're talking about iterations. There are there are multiple ways to iterate through the entire maps. Okay, so I'll talk about it. So okay, what is pending right now? We talked about add, we talked about delete, we talked about get, we talked about size, we talked about search. Find index of. I don't think there is a index of thing here, but let's try. Country map dot index of. Do I have? No, I do not have anything, because again, there is no concept of index positions. What is here is it is all dependent on keys. Okay, so there is nothing called index position. So again, this is not valid. So this is index is thing is not valid here also in the maths. What about update? So the two important areas which we have left is update and iteration. Let's first see the iteration part, because this is very simple. I mean, update is also simple, but let's talk about iteration. what all methods we have. I wanted to iterate, right? Let's talk about this. Again, you could use the for loop, enhanced for loop. How will you do it? Okay, can I do it? Yes, you can, but I think, okay, you remember I told you that this map here, right? If you would look at keys, this is like your set, right? This is like your set. So if you combine all your keys, because they do not allow duplicate values, these are acting as what? As keys. Okay. And if you would look at values, because they can allow duplicate values inside this, so those are like behave as a list, right? Now, because of this, right, maps provides two different methods, and it also provides us a provision that we can access, let's say, all the keys together in a one place. And there's a method for that, and the method name is key set. If you use this method on your map, right, what it will do is it will collect all your keys, form a set of it, and return it to you. Okay, so if you do this, what you will get? You will get all the keys here: 91, 92, 52, 52, whatever those value added, right? You will get this as here, right? So here it means that you are able to pick your keys and form a set out of it. Okay, this is how you can do it, and you do it by using this key set method. Country map dot key set. You see key set. If you do this, let me show you what is the written type of it. The written type is set, and whatever data type it has, it will have it there. So what is the data type you have in the keys? Integer, right? So it will return you a set. It will return you a set whose data type is what? Integer. So it will return something like this. Is everyone getting this point? Okay, Sally, are we getting this?
Yeah, a little bit.
See, this is the first time if you're seeing this, right? You will have some
It's
confusion.
happening too much for me. Yeah.
No worries, right? See, again, again, I'm trying to bring common things together, right? So that it is easier to comprehend. Okay. And that's why we're covering all this. But we have to understand like what all is possible. Again,
Yeah.
you can just revisit the chapter again. I think it will start
I
making
have
sense.
to.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. But
Just
understand
that
like,
how the way
hmm,
you're writing everything over here, the methods and the syntaxes and everything.
hmm.
Means when you are using what thing, how to catch up that thing. Will that be happening once we go through everything?
No, we're doing it here only, right? You can see. You have to understand what I'm using here, right? Country map. And then you have to relate it to this part, right? What is a country map? Country map is a map which contains two things. One is the key. Your key is of type integer, and your value, which is of type string, right?
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
showing you all the operations which you can do on a map. This is the addition. This is the size. If you wanted to get a size of it, this is the deletion part. This is how you get a item from your map.
Operations are same as that we do in SQL kind of thing, right?
See, there's a terminology called CRUD. CRUD
Scrud.
means
Okay.
CRUD, CRUD. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
CRUD, right?
Okay.
C means create, right? Okay, U means over there update. D, I believe it terms at deletion. R, I think it is retrieval, right? That is like getting the value. Okay, so CRUD,
Okay.
create, retrieve, update, or delete, right? This is
Yeah.
called as a CRUD operation. CRUD operations are, you can do CRUD operation with anything, right? Be it Java, SQL, JavaScript, right? But you have to understand where are you doing all these operations. In our case, we are doing this operation using Java language and inside the maps, which is a data structure. When you talk about database, right, it's itself a data structure, right,
Yeah.
in the forms of tables and everything, right? So you can, if you meant that, then yes. But again, right, you have to see like all the CRUD operations you can do inside the this collections. We just shown that using put you do addition, using remove you remove you delete the items, you using get you retrieve the item, right? And we have
So
to
we have
still
to
talk about
remember
this.
these keywords using what we can do which operations.
Yes, you have to remember, and you will only remember if you practice.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, I'm just trying to cover this by showing you that there is a commonality in the method names by drawing this entire table here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So let's move ahead and let's go to the iterate part. So we are here country map.key set, and we are I told you, right, when you do a key set, what it will do is it will collect all your keys, form a set of it, and it will provide you, okay, like this. So what I can do here is I can write this code here. I can say set integer, and I will say country code set equals to this. Does anyone have a query on this? I can do this, right? Because my key set is returning me what? A set of integer. That's why I created a set of integer and assigned this to it. Now I have the set of the, I mean, the out of my map, right? I have retrieved this key portion, right? And I've formed a set of it, right? And now if I have to iterate through it, right? We all remember how we do it. We use the iterate method, right? Iterator method. So I will do something like this only. So I will do what? I will say, I will write here. I will form a iterator class, iterator interface, and I will say that it has to iterate through integer items. Uh, I think uh, country iterator, let's say country code iterator, and how will it iterate through? It needs to iterate through this set, and there is a method inside that set which is iterator. Okay, this way you will you will get the handle to your iterator part. So what will happen because of this line? For this thing, right? For this set here, right? For this set here, right? This is these are your items, right? The four items. These are your items, right? So whenever you write this line, so iterator will be placed here, right, on the top, and then you can start following the same approach of has next and next, right? When you do next, you will get your item right of this. So let's write it. So I will say while I will say in teacher I, and I will do what? Country code iterator. Oh, sorry, what I'm doing. I'm not writing NS for loop. I have to do country code iterator dot has next. Okay. And then I will do what? I need to, let's say, print the values. So I will say country code iterator dot next. Let me actually do this first, and then I think it will make sense. Let me just run all of this. Country code as out. Okay, and let me write as out again. Country dot map. Remove the item size of it. Let me print the size of this after doing this. Okay, and fine. Let's run this first of all and see what we achieve here. So let me write demo d1 equals to new demo, and I will say d1 dot map demo, and let's run this. Yes, let's run this. Okay, you can see what all items I have. In the end, let me just do a dry run of it. We added four items: 91, 92, 108, and 67. We printed the size of it. What is the size? 4. After that, I remove the item named as 91. So you can, I mean, an item which has a value, I mean, a key as 91. So it would have removed this item from there. Okay, so this is gone. Now, how many items remains? Only three: Pakistan, Australia, and Cambodia. Then I'm trying to again remove the item which I have already removed, right? And because of this, right, when it will try to attempt this, it will not find that item, so it will not do anything. Okay, it will just move ahead. So at this line, it will not do anything because I have already removed that item. Now, if I'm printing the size of it, it prints 3. Then I'm saying, get me the item which has the country code as 92. What is the 92 value? Pakistan. So it printed Pakistan. After this, we are trying to search the item. We are saying, get me the value where, I mean, sorry, tell me whether I have a key of 92 within my maps. Okay. So it is finding it and it is returning me true or false, right? So here I do have an entry of 92, which is here, right? Pakistan. So it returned me true. And then what I'm doing is I'm trying to find a entry in my map which has a value of India. But now it does not exist because I have already removed it. So it returned me what? It returned me false. So how many items I have? 3, right? Pakistan, Australia, and Cambodia. 92, 108, and 67. Now see here. When I'm doing a set, country code set, country map.key set, it will collect all 3 values, right? Which are what? 67, 92, and 108. Okay, whatever those are. 92, 108, and 67. It picked all of this and it did what? I tried to create a set of it. So it created a set of those 3 items. And now I started iterating through it. Right? As I'm iterating, it is printing those values. Now you may be wondering, I mean, if you are looking closely, you would be wondering, Akhil, the values were in the order of, let's say, this thing, right? They were, you can see this is arranged, right? This is sorted. 67,
Yes.
92, 108 is sorted. But this is not how I added the values here. It was 92, 108, and 67, right? You have to understand, right? Again, there are a lot of things about data structures which I may have, I will not be even to even point it out everything, but you have to understand the sets, right? They maintain a sorted order inside them. Okay, because there is no index thing inside them, right? They cannot access items through index, so they do maintain sorting order inside them so that it is easier for them to find a duplicate value. Okay, this is how it internally works. Okay, this is how it internally works. So I don't want to go there, but you have to understand it formed a set and then we are iterating through the entire set, and we are trying to print it, and you can see it printed 3 values: 67, 92, and 108. Okay, and this is how you can print. Now, I told you if you have access to a key, you can also access a value. Let's try to do it. So this is here we were accessing your keys, right? Let me write here. You were accessing your keys. Or let me not comment it. Let me just comment this part. Okay, so let me say our our key is of type integer, right? So I will create a integer variable and let's say k here. Okay, and I will term it as null. And what I will do is I will say k equals to this next. So now k will be holding the first value of my set, which is what? Let's say 67. And if I have the key, I can also get the value of my map. How? I can use country code, sorry, country map dot which method? Get method, right? On our map. And I can provide the key value to it. I mean the key number, right? So where is my key number? In the k here, right? I got it. And now, okay. If I do this, what this will return me? It will return me the value, right? Which is placed at key k. What is the k is pointing to currently? It will point to 67. What is the value placed at 67? Cambodia. It will print Cambodia. Then what value it will pick? 92. What is the value there? Pakistan. Then it will take 108. It will print Australia. And what is the method we are using here? We are using the get method, and we are providing the input of keys. Okay. Let me run this. Let me also print the keys also. Okay. Let me say here. Key is K. K, comma, value. Value is okay. Let's run this. This time, instead of just seeing 67 into 108, what you should see? You should see the complete mapping, right? You can see key is 67, value is Cambodia, key is 92, value is Pakistan, 108, it's Australia. Okay. We have done what? We are just iterating through the keys one by one. And we have also learned that if you have the access to your key, you can get your value also. How do you do that? You can use it by using your get method, okay, which we have used on the maps, right? So if I go back, right, into our table again, this table, here, right, you have what? This is an update thing. Sorry, apart from all of this, right, you will add an extra column, which is to get the groups, right? Can you get all your keys as a group? Yes. In case of array list and hash set, these are not these are actually possible. These are possible using this iteration part, right? Iteration part. But okay, let me write here only. So here, in case of iteration, right, you can create a subgroup. I mean subsection. Okay, let me write it here only. Groups. I will create a separate section groups, and I will say in maps, right, you can get two groups. One for a set, sorry, one for the keys using the key set method. It will create a set for you using the keys you have. And then you can also have values method, which will do what? It will form a list of your items which you had inside your, inside your map, right? The values part of it. Okay. So it will generate something like this: set and a list. Let me actually set. Does value returns you a list or something else? Country map dot values. It says collection. Okay, it's not a list, but you can understand it is returning your collection, which is of your. And again, when it says collection, right, it depends, right, what values you are storing there. When we will tomorrow talk about complex, we will go one level deeper now tomorrow, right? And then you will understand why it says collection here. We'll talk about it, but understand it returns your collection. So, and list is a type of collection only. So it returns you here, right? So you have a extra utility in case of maps where you can get everything in sets as a single group, and you can get values as a single group using these methods. So we already saw, if you have to iterate through your maps, right, you can, what you can do is, the first approach is, you will first create a you will first create a group of your keys. Let me use a separate page. So the first technique which you should use is create a group of your keys, okay, of your keys. Then iterate through your keys. When you are iterating, you will be iterating one item by one item, right? And then you have, and with every item you're getting the keys. So using that key, you get the values, right? By doing what? By using the get method, where you provide the key, and it returns you what? A value. So the one of the ways to print the values of your map is, you start by creating a group of your keys by using what method? Key set method. Once you do is, you will start iterating through it, and then once you start iterating through it, you will be getting the access to your keys one by one, and you will use those keys and access the values based on that keys, right, by using the get method. So this is how you iterate through your values. Okay. And if it is about keys, these are the two steps which you have to use. Okay, the first two steps. The third step is required if you want to iterate through values using the keys. But there's a second option. What you can do is you can also do the second option where you will create a group of your values. And how will you do it? You will do it by values method. And then you will iterate through it. Okay, iterate through the values and you will be able to print the values which you have in the map. Okay, but try to understand with the second approach, you do not have access to your keys. So keys you cannot access. But using the first technique, right, you get access to both the things. The keys also, you get the access to keys, and using keys you can get access to your values. So you are getting access to both the things. Okay, right? And now what about the iterator method? So we talked about that key set returns you what? It returns you a set. How do you iterate through a set? You say you whatever name of the set is, you will say dot iterator. So you will do something like this. So this returning your set, right? You can dot it and you can put an iterator to it. You can access. You can put a iterator. So this is how you iterate through the keys. If you wanted to iterate through values, again the same approach. Values dot iterator. Okay, and you can iterate through it. So this is how you can iterate through all this thing, right, inside your maps. But if you are accessing through keys, right, you get access to both the things, key and a value. But if you try to access, I mean iterate through values only, then you get access to only values only, not the keys. Okay, this is the important difference between the two. Okay, the last part for today. What about the update operations in maps? How do we do that? Let me first complete this part. Values dot iterator. I will say while iterator. Okay, not here. Control X iterator of string map value equals to this part, and here I will say map value dot as next, and then I will say map value dot next, and I will just print this out. Okay, so this is how you iterate through the maps. Iterate, iterate through values, values only, and in the above case, iterate through key and value. Okay, the last part about the updation operations. How do you do or update operations in case of maps? Now think about it. What can you do in when you take about maps? What exactly are you saying? Let's see this. You have a map. Okay, you have a map and you have some entries, key and a value. So in some cases you may think, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, let's say, and I have want to have Akhil here, Jan here, and pot test here. Okay, let's say my intention is that I want to update only this, only the key. So how can I update a key? Okay, so this is one possible operation. Second operation is I wanted to update our value, update our value, right? This, let's say this part, I want to update this value. The third is I want to update both the things, update both the things, right? Both the keys and the value. How to do it? First of all, let's see, do we have any method inside the maps to do the updates directly? So I will say country map dot, let's see, key set we have talked about, values we have talked about, size, but okay, contains value and contains key. I think we have talked about this, right? Contains key, it will search for the keys, and for values, it will search for the values. Put method we have seen, again to add the values, remove and remove, again we have seen both the operations. Clear is to, I believe, to clear your, to empty your, if you, let's say you have so many items and you want to just clean your map, so you will use this clear method. Okay, entry set. Okay, this is one thing which we've talked about, but leave it as of now. We'll talk it about later. Is empty. It is just checking whether your map is empty or not. If it is empty, it will return true, and if it even has a single entry inside this, it will return false. merge, replace. Okay, I have a method called replace here. Okay, great. So let's use this one. Okay, and okay, see, we have two methods, replace and replace, right? In the first case, right, we are trying to replace, we're trying to replace, okay, in both the cases, right, what you will be doing is you will be providing a key and a value to it, okay? In this replace option, right, what you will be able to achieve is you will be only be able to update your values, not the keys, using these two methods, okay? So what I'm talking about, if you have to update a value, this part, right, then there is a method available, you can use replace, okay? In case of this replace, what you have to do is you will provide the key with for which you want to replace a value, okay? You can directly provide your let's say, first of all, let's talk about the first variant which accepts your old value. So you can tell that there is a value Jen there, okay, and this is the key to, instead of Jen, let's provide Kumar, okay. So what will happen in this case is it will remove Jen from here and it will add Kumar here, okay. So it will do something like this. In the other case, the second option, where you can just specify two, and let's say you do not care what existing value you had and you do not even know about it, but you just simply want to update the key with a new value, and whether it is Jan, Kumar, Singh, some whatever it is, right, you do not care and you want to place a new value. Let's say you will add here what's this, Mittal, right, let's say Mittal, you will add Mittal there, okay. So again, what will happen in this case is whatever it value it will have, will remove this and add a Mittal there. But here, using this replace method, what you're able to achieve, only this operation, updating a value. You cannot update a key here. Okay. So how to see about this? I mean, how to update this key, right? Okay. About updating a value again, let's talk about this again, right? So this is one of the option. There is one more option. What you can simply do is, let's say I already have this entry, one Akhil, two Jan, third pot test. I am not using these methods. What I will do is I will simply add, I will simply use this thing. I will say map, whatever that name of the map is, dot put, and I will say, let's say I wanted to update this value, right? I will simply say 2 and I will add here method. Now what will happen in this case? What will happen in this case is it will Java, right, will remove this entry, right? It will remove this entry and it will add a new entry. Why? Because this is how your sets work, right? If you try to add a duplicate value to your set, what happens? The earlier value gets removed and the next value gets added there, right? This is what we have seen. This is what we have seen there, right? So, but again, for you, it's like an update operation only, right? Because now you do not have an entry like this, rather you have an entry of this to Mittal. Okay, and if you would find a key with the value 2, now you will not be getting Gen, you are getting Mittal there. So it is as same as your update operations. Okay, so how do you update a value? By using these three techniques: replace, and put. If you have to update a key, if you have to update a key, let me think about it. Can you really do it? Let me think. I think you cannot actually. You will have to delete that key and then make a new entry. That is the only possible solution you may have, as far as I can understand or I can think about it as of now. So if you have to update a key, what is only possible is you will remove the item. You will say map dot remove. You will remove the key one, let's say, right, and then you will do again map dot put one, and then you will provide a value. Let's say Shilpi. Okay, you will add this. So this is how you will be able to update your key, right? Oh, we are not updating the key. We have to update it to a second value, right? So we are not doing this. So this is again updating your value only, right? We did the same operation of a value here. So if you have to update a value, right? I mean, a key here is I will add something like this, 4 and a kill, right? That is what I will do. I will say map.port, and now the key for Akhil is updated. You remove the this entry, it is gone now, and now you have Akhil with the value as 4. Okay, and this is how you can update your keys. I think this is the right explanation, right? Okay, great. How about updating both the values? Again, the same operation. You will first remove the keys right from here. Okay, when you say remove, right, you will, let's say I wanted to remove this spot test, so I will say remove 3, and then you will do what? You will say put, and then you will add an entry saying, let's say 5, and let's say Akhil pot test. Okay, so now it is as same as that you deleted this and you add an entry a Akhil pot test. Right, everyone? Okay, so these are the different options, right, which you had in case of maps. Okay, all the CRUD operations. And this is what really matters when it has to come with collections, because you would be working with collections to perform a lot of insertions, deletions, updations, right? And this is what data structures are for. You create data structures to hold value, right? And you would be retrieving, you would be adding, you would be removing, right? All of those operations you will be doing. So the most vital part is what we have covered today. Okay, how to do those CRUD operations with our collections, and we learn about it, how to do this, and I think we are good with it, right? So tomorrow, again, what we'll do tomorrow is we will try to get deeper now. As of now, we have thought about our linear case. We are just talking about a single, let's say, a single column, right? Let's say I wanted to store a single column which contains the name of the employees into a list. We saw that how to do it. What if I have to store the a 5 column table inside a list? How can I do it? You're thinking about it, right? How will you store a 5 column table inside a single list? How can you do it? Similarly, if I have to store that table inside a map, how will I do it? As of now, you are doing with the, let's say, you're doing what? You are creating, when you declare your list, right, you specify the data type, right? Like it has to be string. But when we will talking about a table, right, which can have one column for string and another could be for age, which would be an integer. So how will you be able to store that table by using a list data structure? And similarly for the other collections, right, maps and everything. You're getting the point, right? Right, so we have to see that how do we achieve all of this in case of when we use collections. But it will be too much for people who are already struggling with collection, right? So I would really appreciate, right, people who are struggling with it, please go back and do rewatch the video. Okay, but try to play with it, right? Try to play with it and try to get some understanding. Okay, and since we have a holiday on Friday, Saturday again it will be off, Sunday it will be off, right? So you will have 3 days. Please practice as much as you can on the collections part. Okay, tomorrow we will be discussing about the complex data structures, how we can generate, how we can access using all the three concepts. I mean, list, set, and the maps. And we will also talk about auto boxing, unboxing, and boxing. Not this boxing. That there's a concept of boxing in Java, right? So we will, again, it is related to collections only. So we'll talk about all of this tomorrow. And once we are done tomorrow, right, about all this, the only part left on collections would be to talk about comparable and comparator, and how do we use them to sort our data inside a collection. All of this is very important for people who are looking for some good role in a technical domain, and if they want to sit for an interview. Okay, I remember my days. I went for an interview for InfoEdge. I remember, right? And I thought that I know about Java, I reached there, and I think I'm talking about 7 to 8 years back, when I was still learning a lot of things. So I went there, Info Edge, and there was a lady. She took my interview, and I cleared all the rounds. I mean, all the questions. It ran for 1 hour, but she was not getting deep into the Java part. So she was rather focusing on the questions which she would have been. I mean, she was facing in the real. I mean, day-to-day jobs. But then she thought, okay, let me check the depth of the person, right? Further, right? Whether that this person knows more or not. So she called a developer, and the developer was having an experience of almost 15-20 years. And I, being a smart chap, right? I did not cover everything in Java, and I went for the interview. So what happened there was that the first question the person asked was about comparator, and I was looking at his face, and I was wondering what is a comparator. I never heard about comparator at that point of time. So so again, right? I'm just trying to share the part, right? I'm talking about like 7 years back, right? Where JavaScript was not in the picture. People still were still using Java only, and today we have to cover a lot of things. So try to understand. There is a lot of things in everything, right? Which we have to cover, and this is an important area. And but once you cover this comparing and comparable part also, right? I think then you can say that you are very good in the basic Java and the advanced part also, because you can work with collections, you can sort that collections, and you can operate on that collection. Okay, and this is what is required in the real world on the part. When we talk about lambdas and stream, it's more like an optimized way of working again. But for doing all of that, you have to know all this, right? And I would really say, if you understand all of this till this Thursday, right? If you cover all of the concepts what we have covered, you covered till Thursday also, right? There is no need to even learn all of that. If you are okay with this, please remain till this part only. Okay, but anyhow, I'll be covering, but I'm just saying that you should not be bothering yourself that I have to learn lambdas and streams as the first thing. No, you have to get comfortable on this first. That's why I have decided to divide my Java portion into two things. Okay, we have covered the bare minimum things which you should be knowing as an SDET on Java, and we are covering it till this Thursday. And then you can even start preparing for the interviews and start setting for it. And I would really encourage everyone, whoever is looking for a job, start giving some interviews, right? You will get the insights. What questions do they ask? Is your learning here helping you or not? Okay, and wherever is the gap, you will get to know, and then you can go back to the videos and watch it again. Okay, I think I'm good for today. If there is no more question, we can wrap up the call. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let's meet tomorrow, right? We will cover complex data structures tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.